Hello. In between, let's move the polycarp off bits out of the way. And that, let's just have a bit of a quick clean. Get rid of last night's build. I use this UMP airbrush thinner now for cleaning my whiteboard. Well, my ceramic tile. It's not really a whiteboard. Brilliant for that sort of thing. There we go. Super. Oh. Right, where did we get to? So I'll button this up just to see how it goes. We had a lot of fit trouble with the with this front section, as I recall, and now we're at the stage where we need to just pop the landing gear legs, the rear wheel in, and then we can button up. Those that watched will remember I took the bits off the sprue and they were woeful. They had the most flash I've seen on a kit for quite some time. I did clean them up as promised, so now they look a lot better. Apart from when I missed that one out there, and I've got a couple of apologies for the dog. The postman's due as well, so, and we are expecting deliveries, I think. So there may well be interruptions. Should have thought of that before I started. Okay. Right. Now I've already got the instruction manual out. I just want to have a look. So we've got these bits. So yeah, that goes on the tyre. That goes on there. Right. Now then. I really don't want to have to separate the two halves again, if I can get away with it. If I can get away with it. These nippers are amazing. I literally just go around and remove the flash with them. They cut that close to the. They can get that close to the plastic, then not do any damage. Superb. So we've got a little bit here. Just come in and then snip. There we go. No damage at all. Right. Now then, it's hopefully I can let's have a look. I may need to I'm gonna have to take that off there a minute. Okay, yeah, I can do this. And it needs to go backwards. So that's going to go like that. And that's going to go on like that. Now then, I don't really want to glue that wheel in because I'm guessing that wheel needs to spin freely. We've not. Right, yeah, so we've got to do not glue. Not a symbol as such because they've just put the letters in black writing, so. Let's get the tyre on. Just need to take. Very careful with this. It's like a little. There we go. And just got a tiny little seam. Which will be probably easier to handle once it's in this block here. So let's get that on there, and then what we'll do is we'll try with the UMP white sander just to very lightly, very lightly, because it's a very coarse. Use this side. One side's coarser than the other, and just roll it backwards and forwards. There we go. Daniel. Yeah, it's working. It's just knowing not to put, knowing how much to put on. Put too much on and you'll tear the rubber apart. I mean, I suppose you could use a slightly less more grit, I guess, would be the thing, not less grit. A finer sander, and then you could probably apply a little bit more pressure, but I always do it this way. I never have a problem. And then just very lightly, once you've done that, go round, sort of make over and that. Make sure you keep the shape of the top of the wheel. I mean, there are ways that other ways you can do this. Yeah, there we go. And that will just sit on there like so. We'll take that off just until we get this other side in, and then it looks like the back is going to be the first part that will get buttoned up. Let me just have a look. Mr. Mini Dreams, hi Dave. Sorry about the dog. How are you? 6:50 here in my parts. Yeah, I know it's early morning there. You're not far off doing your show, are you? Is it better to go backwards and forwards or forwards and backwards? You're on about hoovering or cleaning, or I'm not. I don't know what you're on about. Oh, you're on about when I was doing. Dave. I don't know. I find, I just try every way. If you're on about referring to the wheel, I sort of do. It doesn't really make any difference. What I do find is if it's stubborn and I can't get rid of it, I normally resort to going side to side and sort of over the top like that, because you know better than I, Dave, because you do wheels all the time. So they can be real stubborn little things at times, depending on how they've been made. They can make a right mess, especially when you do some of the tricks you do with making them look low profile and that. For those that haven't seen Dave's channel, Mr. Mini Dreams, he does cars, but to say he just does cars is a bit of an understatement. He takes regular cars and customizes the hell out of them, chops them up, and makes some stunning works of art out of them. And he's also extremely passionate about the hobby, which I really like. He's always trying to promote the hobby. Very much, I feel it is in many ways the same sort of things that I'm trying to achieve. I want to share what I know. I want to learn from other people. Unfortunately, it sometimes seems that you piss people off. Sometimes people just don't like that. Right, that's... Come on. Now there's two locating pegs in here. but they don't feel like they're clipping in. Right. So then we've got these let's just leave that. I know it's not together completely at the moment. Wow, where did the chat go? The chat's just disappeared. Oh, it's back again. Yeah, unfortunately, Joe, I know what you're saying, but you can't slide them in later because there's two huge pegs where they sit. Oh, so it's come off. Let me just show you. I don't know if you can see in there. There's two big pegs. They're not little ones, and they slide up into that position. So, if you closed it up, these wouldn't slide in there full stop to begin with anyway. So the only way that would work is if you cut the pegs off and then just glued them at this point here, and then they've lost a lot of their strength then. So, but in theory, they should just come together, but they're because it's a poor kit. I think the front one is. And I think the back one might. Yeah, the front one definitely is. And I think I'm just going to be a little bit of filler on the back one. Yeah, it's just the mold that's not quite. The other thing I could do is what I should have done with hindsight. I might still be able to. If I can gently prise it out. So you see, there's quite a big peg on the end, which sits in a big locating slot there. But what I can do is just drill out the top of that hole a tiny little bit. Just make it like a tiny little bit wider at the top, so that when the little pin comes over the top, there's a chamfer for it to slide down into. That may work. So I've got a slightly bigger drill, and at the moment there's absolutely no chamfer on that hole, so it's just that. So what I'm doing is I'm just making that top hole slightly wider, because the peg slits up, it sits off to one side, so it's just on the entrance. So now there's like a little ramp on the edge of the hole. So that where that peg sits, it should just click in. It slide down into place. That should help a lot. Shut up, Daniel. So let's just yeah, that's a bit better. I'm wondering, I can probably get away with I might be able to leave that. So I'm not going to glue this tail bit together, and the reason for that is I want to keep this wheel off until the end because of painting. Yeah, and then towards the end I can come along, just pop that wheel on and then glue that join there. Or I might be able to glue that join there and still, let me see if it was still, no, so I'm going to have to, right, that's good, that's that bit. Now I need, these pieces go together. And we've got, just trying to see how these go now. Go to the back and just cleaned them up, but I forgot to just cut that recess out there and one here. Right. Now these have not got to be glued in, so this is going to be interesting, hopefully. Let's push. There. And pop that on there. Excellent. Let's just position that all the way around. Have a look at that. So we're going to need a bit of cleanup once it's on. Let's get some so we want to glue around the edge. Just release the pressure on it a bit. Don't keep it clamped together like that, because it's not going to get in. You want the glue to seep into the seam and hopefully flow further around. Don't glue too close to these little pegs here, because these have got to be free. Obviously, there's going to be a rudder thing going to go on here that will help keep it. Now, hopefully it won't be too sloppy. And again, the two sides are one slightly different to the other in shape and size. So although it looks like it's a seam line, it's actually one slightly bigger than the other. I think this bottle's getting really empty because I'm not getting much glue coming out. It's okay, I have many more in reserve. There's one thing I'm not going to run out of, it's glue. Let's try that. Let's get a clamp on. A little bit more at the top. Right, leave that there for a minute. It won't take long, about 5 minutes. We'll leave that there. Let's go back to looking at this. So one of the things I discovered, I tinkered about with this front engine, because as you remember at the end of when I can't remember when I last done this, I was not happy with the engine fit at all. It just didn't look right, and I found out why it didn't look right, and purely by accident, I might add. I was tinkering about with it, and where I'd glued it onto the front of this, let me get my little pointy thing out. So where I'd glued this here onto this, you can even see where the glue attached at the top there. I'll tilt it forward, maybe not. but I had that glued there, and so it was fixed. Well, the glue came undone, and no sooner had the glue come away than the engine sort of snapped back a little bit and leveled itself out. So I looked at it, and sure enough, I think that where I went wrong was gluing that front engine cowling to this front here, so that this piece was flush at the front here. Now I've checked all the propellers to make sure, and they all still fit in that, with that like that. So there's no reason for me to go and try and push that back, because by pushing that forward, it's actually aligning it all wrong. So it was a little accident with a happy outcome, because it's now, as you can see, it's now all straight. And the good thing is that the all these braces now are now doing their job, because the engine is not fixed in, it's not glued in. It's literally being held by all the exterior work, which is probably what is supposed to happen. It's quite steady in there, and once the cowlings go on, it's not going to go anywhere. So I'm really reluctant to go in there and start fiddling with it, because it's just as I want it like that. I just need to go back and touch up areas from where I've fiddled with it, and maybe do a bit of weathering or something. I don't know yet, but yeah, that was a good outcome on that. So once they're on there, these then have to, right, I see. Pull these forward so they're fully extended, and then we need to get them in them slots there, which is going to be maybe a touch awkward, maybe not. And then we're closing that up. I'm going to snap that over the and I've just got to decide. I'm just looking at right. Okay, so I've looked at that fit now, so I can now tell that there's too much plastic here and here. We're going to have to trim that down so that this, when it's in position, has got more movement. There is quite a big chamfer on there. I thought it looked a bit too much. Let me try and get a good angle so that you can see it's quite. This is exceptionally large, so that when this sits in there, that it can't move because of these edges. It can't. I don't want to take too much off, because I am going to lose a little bit of detail if I'm not careful. So I'm just going to shave carefully. I can go a bit more. All right. We're going to come round and do the same on the other side. Actually, one side. That side's okay. It is this side that's the problem. You can actually see this is the side that I've just shaved, and even though that's the side I've just shaved, looking down, I don't know if it's going to show, but looking down, if I get that flat, you can see that this side, let me just put something there. Up here you can see where the plastic on the bottom one is. I know what. Let me get a marker pen, a Sharpie, and let me mark that black, that one side. So you're looking at that flat on. Let me just get that right so that it's flat. And you can see that there's still plastic showing through. So the side that I've been cutting is this side. So I've flipped it over. So I need to shave some more off, if anything, because it's too long. And you can also see where they have the rivets. Sorry about, apologies for that, the dog. Is that post? Bear with me a second, I better just check that. Right, sorry about that. The postman was fighting with our letterbox. I got out there and she stood there. She's got all the letters jammed in the outside post box and she's fighting to get them in. So I've had to assist. Right, sorry, apologies for that. Where was I? Oh yes, you can see from the rivets on one side. If it's going to show me, I'm going to turn the light down because that sometimes helps and sometimes not. They're right on the edge. Look at the rivets. They're right on the very edge of that rear stabilizer fin. And then if we turn it over and we look at the rivets on this side, they're close to, but not right on the edge. And bear in mind, I've already trimmed a little bit off there. So we're going to trim a little bit more. We've got a little lump at the bottom as well. So we're just going to try and just try and even it up. I'll use this white one just to I want to take it. There we go. The white one makes short work of this plastic, that's for sure. How's it look now when it's still showing a little bit more than we can clean up. Right, so there we go. Right, let's try that fitment again. Now we've shaved a bit off there. Make sure they're both extended again. Oh. Come on. No, come on. Didn't have any trouble before. And now it's just yeah, so we've got not a great deal of movement, but we have got more movement than we had before. Now I could trim that down even further and give us a little bit more, but you know, it doesn't have to be spot on. The fact that it moves a bit is great. I'd rather it move a little bit like that than have it all sloppy where it just, you know, one little puff of wind and it flaps left and right like a bloody letterbox in a gale. So, and it needs, do we need to... I need to trim that up there. Need to drop that down a bit. I don't think so. I'm just deciding. I need to decide before I glue. Yes, we've got a bit of a lip there. I'm going to take care of that before we... Make sure that's okay. I can do these front pieces afterwards. I'm not too concerned about that. But that top bit there I can't do. And now's time for the just to keep some of that shape there. I don't know whether we've got anything else coming. There we go, that's better. Daniel! I need to check again. Oh, there could be parcel. Yes, indeed, another parcel. Oh dear, it's all happening today. Doesn't help that it takes me ages to go to and from the front door. Right. So now we've got them there. Oops. Let's try and get this back on, and this should be, we should be at that stage where I can finally button up the fuselage. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, it must have been catching on the top a little bit. So that is better. Right, now then, let's start. Yeah, let's get this together. So I'm going to leave the tape on for now. I'm not going to glue them bits for now. I will come back to them later, but for the moment I want to get some glue around the bottom. Remembering I'm not gluing the that rear landing gear wheel on, not just yet. We're a considerable way off being done on this. I have to get the soft jaw clamps on in a minute. Don't want to apply a lot of pressure. If you apply too much pressure, it has the opposite effect. It may clamp the one side, but it ends up opening up the other. It's just this is one of the difficult bits to glue up, this front section here, because it always wants to, you apply the pressure at the top and the bottom comes apart. I am going to take the tape off here because there's only a tiny little strip. Nope, come on. Just make sure everything's in the right place. It isn't. That's probably why that's not. There we go. Right. Even though I had it taped up, a couple of the bulkheads had gone a little bit awry inside. They're now where they should be. Let me just look, and now, yeah, now that top comes together okay. This is going to need some considerable filling. Come on, I know you're in there. There we go. You can see it flowing along the top there. Somebody said it perfectly the other day. I can't remember who it was, but they said it's a good job it's thick plastic. And they're right. Oh dear. Not going to stop today. Hello? No, not at the moment. Right, okay, then I'm going to go. Are you coming over? Are you coming over? Because I'm doing a live show at the moment. Yeah, I'm going to do it now. All right. All right. Bye. So I'm going to have to cut this one short. We've actually got a thunderstorm on the edge of town, and my daughter's just informed me there's torrential rain, and it could be starting. That's important for two reasons. Our house floods every time it rains at the moment. We've got a problem with the guttering, which in itself is a problem, but the front porch also leaks. So every time it rains, our front hall floods. We are getting somebody to come and look at it. I don't know when. It's like when I'm free sort of thing. But until then, when it's torrential rain, I have to go and put a quilt in the hall. There you go. Such is life. So I'm going to have to leave it there. My apologies for all the interruptions. I still enjoyed what we've done. I hope you've found it enjoyable. We're finally making good progress now with the fuselage getting buttoned up. I will have that finished before the next one. You don't need to see me glue this and sort of clamp it. And then we'll move on with the next, whatever the next piece is, which I think surely has got to be the wings. Yes, it is. It's the wings and the guns in particular by the looks of it. So, thank you for watching, and I will catch you all in the next episode, which I think will be 12 or 13. Were they able to say? Oh, yeah. So thanks, Dave. I just noticed you're asking about my leg. Yeah, Angela's answered that. Thanks. Right. Anyway, I will go through the comments. I do go through the comments, and I read all the comments, even the bad ones, and they all get a reply, even the bad ones. So. Bye for now, and see you next time. Cheerio.